Alright guys, welcome to the Supreme Touring HQ. In this episode, I'm going to show you the top 5 things I did to my car to make my 105 series a fully off-grid capable car that I can live in literally weeks at a time and it won't fail on me. I'm going to tell you my experiences with the old 76 series, with that car being a fully off-grid capable car as well. But anyway, let's get into this video. Alright, number 1 is definitely 110% power setup. In this day and age, we have evolved so much in the four-wheel drive industry with power. You know, we've gone from old AGM batteries all the way up to the brand new lithium batteries, and the technology we have in charging systems, in remote control systems, in monitoring systems, with all these well-built chargers and companies that are producing these products. And a lot of them are Australian made, which is a big tick in my opinion. So if you are wanting to go off grid, my first piece of advice is get a really good battery system, because that will keep you alive. It'll keep your fridge cold, your food intact. It'll keep, in my case, my communication intact most of the time. And it could save you in the long run. For an example, if your main battery dies in your car and you have a secondary battery which you are able to jumpstart your car. What do I use in the 105 series as a dual battery setup? I've actually got 2 dual battery setups in that car. That kind of sounds odd, I understand. Dual when it's 2. Yeah, okay. The first one is what came in the car, which is under the bonnet, which is an AGM 120 amp hour battery. And literally I've left that in the car since purchasing the car off the previous owner, and that runs the fridge in the back and a couple lights throughout the car. I have added a Enerdrive 100 amp lithium battery in the back. I got that kit from a company called Aussie Drifter Touring. Really good guys. Jump on their website. They've got universal kits everywhere, tailored to most cars as well, but also universal kits to suit. They also supply your batteries. They pre-wire everything, so it makes it simple for numpties like me to pretty much wire the car. That supplies power to my inverter. In the 76 series, I actually used to run a Enerdrive 2000 watt inverter. It was great, but in the 105, it didn't have an inverter when I purchased it. So I put a King's, don't judge me, I put a King's 2000 watt inverter in there purely because of the warranty that you get with it. It's actually not bad. So look, if it breaks, go to the nearest four-wheel drive super center and they'll exchange it for you. Obviously, depending on how it broke, blah, 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 I'm not going to get into that. It is going to be because of Starlink that I plug into that inverter. So that's another one to be off-grid with these. Technically, off-grid means you're not in contact with outside communication, but being Starlink, that's my sort of savior. I use it as my point of contact emergencies to contact someone back home. I also do a lot of work on the road, so that Starlink, the speeds are like, if you don't have Starlink and you need to get on the internet to do work on the road, man, those speeds are insane. Like, I'm not a tech guru by any means, but Supreme Touring HQ has NBN to the premises, and it's shocking compared to Starlink. Like, Starlink blows it out of the water. All right, number 2 on the off-grid list is going to be water. We are humans. We need water. We need water more than we need food. So water in both of these cars. In the 76, I had about 70 litre water tank, but that I always had to put in the car and pull back out of the car. It was a poly tank from, I believe, Superior Engineering that I just purchased, and I used to whack in front of the back seats or in the back cargo bay. In this car, in the 105 series, we've got a stainless steel tank. It's about a 50 litre tank, and it's hard mounted, so it's part of the draw system in the cargo area. It's behind the back seats and in front of the draw system, and it's actually shaped like a triangle, so it fits really good with those back seats up against it. It is sort of hard wired in as well, if that makes sense, with a pump. Pumps water out, and it also sucks water in. It's a reversible pump. It's actually really good. So definitely water. Also, on a budget side of things as well, just go to your local Aldi or Coles or Woolies and just get I think they're a 24 pack of just the plastic bottled water. And literally, I go through them. I drink them. I use them for just convenience. And once I'm out of them, I dump into the tank. It's better to have a lot of water, overcompensate for water. All right, number 3 on the off-grid list is most definitely a fridge and your cooking system. So I'm quite old school. I like to cook on fire when you can have a fire. That's why I love the Victorian High Country, the Alpine National Park. For a fridge, I've got that Engel that came with this car. It's a bit of an old school Engel. I think it's about a 40-litre fridge. That's been great. It's got a transit cover bag. The amount of fridges I have been through is unbelievable. I have been through Waco 40 litres, Waco uprights, ARB Zero fridges, ARB Zero Elements fridges. I've been through Engel now. Which one's the best? Literally, they're all the same. I've just left the Engel in that car because it actually came with it, and I really can't be bothered pulling that out just to put another fridge in when it's hardwired and it's never failed on me. So if it ain't broke, don't fix it. For cooking, as I said before, I like to cook on the fire, but I use a Wanderer at the moment, and I actually only just got this because I was always shopping around and looking for something a bit compact, but with a couple burners, but with good heat. I'd suggest going and getting a propane one or an actual gas bottle feeder, like a Weber or something. All right, number 4 on the off-grid setup is definitely sleeping. You're going to want to be comfortable when you're sleeping at night and your livable conditions. Doesn't really matter what you have, a swag, a sleeping bag on the ground, a rooftop tent, it all works to be off-grid. I use on both cars, it's actually the same tent if you can see that. It's a Motop MFT, which is a Motop foldable tent, and it's 187 centimeters wide. And it is long, so it's literally, I put a king doona in that and it fits pretty good. Definitely get a comfortable sleeping setup. So for living setup is drawers. Get a good set of drawers. I use drawers in both of these cars. This car I had customized drawers that I made myself, and in this car I have the ORS system that came with the car, and they're both literally unreal. Great for storage. In saying that, you actually don't really need that. You can just use storage tubs. They work really well. So you can do that too, but just a good storage setup for your off-grid experience is 10 times better than literally throwing everything in the back. A little bit of organization, it goes a long, long way. Number 5 for your off-grid setup is definitely 110% the most important. It's going to be communication, safety, and recovery gear. These 3 you should not skimp out on, in my opinion. So you're driving a 4-wheel drive. I would definitely 110% suggest and recommend a UHF. I'm not going to sit here and tell you what brands to get, what's better than what brands to get, who's better than who. You can make that mind up for yourselves. But I use GME. I always have. They're really good for me. But just any form of communication using a UHF on that network, on that band. If it's got a scan option, to me, that's all that really matters. You can scan. Hitting that scan button literally cycles through all the channels and picks up anyone who's talking or actively using one of the radio frequencies channels. If you're stuck in a position where you need that and you don't have anyone else, hit that scan button. Someone will pop up eventually, surely. More often than not, they're going to come and help you. They're not going to leave you stranded in the bush. I would recommend getting a PLB, personal locator beacon, or an EPIRB, anything like that. That works really well out when you're fully off grid. I use Starlink. That's my main point of contact, but I put that up every time I get to camp. So I've got another business to run, so I do have to put it up, and unless it's, a Sunday night or something like that, I'll just avoid it. But I need it purely for emergencies for myself. So if the missus and kids are at home, or I know I've got something important coming up, at least they've got a point of contact to me. Doesn't mean I'm sitting on my phone or my iPad or anything like that. It's really, really good just to have. So if something, heaven forbid, anything happens, I can literally just get straight on there and go, yep, pack up, I've got to go home. So you don't want to come home 2 weeks later with no contact with anyone and realize, oh, great, something's happened. So definitely Starlink for me personally, that works the best for communication. But into the recovery system, 110% MAXTRAX or any sort of recovery board. Again, I'm not going to tell you what brand to get. You can make that up on your own. So I've used Treads, I've used MAXTRAX. They all work brilliantly. I prefer MAXTRAX themselves purely just from my experience of they're the ones that have lasted me generally the most. And to be honest, they're most accessible in pretty much, a lot of retailers around Australia. So if you break one or you need to update one because the knobs are getting a bit frayed, just go into your local BCF and grab some. Definitely a winch, 110%. If you're off-grid solo, use a winch, get a winch. Most companies as the best advice, would do some form of a recovery kit. And when I say kit, it's pretty much going to have your snatch straps, your tree trunk protectors, your soft shackles or your hard D shackles. It should have the option to do a double line pull, quite a lot of things, and do a lot of research on how to use these products and practice in your driveway double line pulls and how to set that all up. That is one of the main things, because if you're stuck once and you can't get yourself out being off grid, you're in a bit of a sticky situation there. And of course, definitely a first aid kit and a snake bite kit. 110%. I leave them in every one of my cars for work, which is in construction, and also off grid. Even just for small things like a band-aid is in a first aid kit. And I've jumped in there quite a lot just for the bloody scissors. Definitely go and get yourself a first aid kit. And probably the last thing I'd suggest in the recovery sense, if you want to call it recovery, is a compressor. So I use 2 compressors in this car and 1 in that car when I had it. And they're both ARB. Again, not going to tell you what brand's better than what, but that one's got a twin ARB compressor and a single ARB compressor. The single one's in the bonnet and the twin's in the cargo area at the back. The twin one at the back is generally for my tires and the heavier loads, and the little one at the front is pretty much for my air lockers, but it does have the usability to pump up my tires, but it's slow to pump up the tires because it's an old school one and it's a singular one. Doesn't really matter. The main thing is I'm getting air in those tires. That would be my advice for your recovery gear. Everything that I've just talked to you about my off-grid setups, it's what I have and it's what lets me live off-grid. That's the main things I rely on to let me live off-grid for weeks at a time. Guys, if you like this video, please subscribe, follow us on our Instagram. But anyway, thanks for watching and I'll catch you next week.